All right, so I'm going to go ahead and explain Pythagorean Theorem to you. Pythagorean Theorem comes up so much in math. It should be something you have memorized. Most of you guys already do. You have a squared plus b squared equals c squared. But generally when I ask what does a and b and c represent, you kind of fall apart. So here's what they actually represent. So we have a right triangle. Your A is going to be a leg. So this part right here is a leg. The other part that forms the 90 degrees is a leg. So if you look, the two parts that actually intersect that are actually perpendicular that makes that 90 degrees, those are the legs of the triangle, of the right triangle. And of course, C is your hypotenuse. And you know I can't spell it, so I'm going to abbreviate it. So that's our hypotenuse. So this right here could be our A, this could be our B, and then this is our C. It doesn't matter what order you do the A or B in, simply because a leg and a leg is interchangeable, and we're going to end up adding them up here, and addition is associative and commutative. I mean, you can do it in any order. So let's look at an example of the actual Pythagorean theorem. All right, so I have a right triangle now, and I'm actually going to ask you to find the missing leg right down here. With this, we're going to have to use Pythagorean theorem, so we're going to have to look and see what we have. I have one leg, I'm looking for a leg, and I have the hypotenuse. So my 11 is going to be C. My 5, let's just call this A. We're going to plug it into Pythagorean theorem up here, and we're going to get 5 squared plus B squared equals C squared. Well, my C is actually 11, so let me actually write that in there. 11 squared. From here, 5 squared is nothing more than 25 plus b squared equals 11 squared is 121. We're going to subtract 25 from both sides so we can isolate b squared, so we can actually take the square root. 121 minus 25 is going to be 96, so I have b squared equals 96. We're going to take the square root on both sides. Don't forget, always put your plus or minus. B equals plus or minus the square root of 96. Now we actually have to break down the square root of 96. So we're going to do our factor tree. We're going to do 96. 2 goes into 96 48 times. 2 goes into 48 24 times. 2 and then of course 12. 2 and 6. 2 and 3. So there's a nice pretty factor tree. With this factor tree, of course, what we're looking for is if it has a buddy, like this 2 has a buddy, so it can actually go outside and play. This 2 has a buddy, so it can go outside and play. But this 2 and this 3 does not have a buddy, so they have to stay in the house. So the easiest way to actually write this out is we're going to start with this plus or minus. Because it's a hypotenuse and it's a length, it's going to be plus. I can have a 2 can go outside and play. Another 2 can go outside and play. And of course, here's my house, the square root. The 2 and the 3 have to stay in it. From here, we just simply simplify. 2 times 2 is 4. And then 2 times 3 is 6. So my missing leg over here is going to be 4 square root 6. 4 square root 6. As you can see, I make writing errors all the time on this. It's okay if you do. Just keep moving on if you make a mistake. Don't stop and dwell on it. Just keep moving on.